Okay, so I'm honoured to be back on the stage again today. I was here yesterday giving an overview of the 5G rollout, 5G SA, and so today here, yes, I'm going to be talking a little bit more generally about digital transformation trends in the enterprise verticals. So, for anybody that wasn't here yesterday, yeah, I'm Gilbert, and I'm from the GSMA, which is the membership organisation that represents the communications industry. So we have about 1,000 members, 750 mobile network operators, and 400 organisations from the wider ecosystem, and also from vertical sectors as well. So, in terms of what I'm going to cover today, I'm going to be talking about the shape of the enterprise market. So what's going on there at the moment? Why is 5G an enabler for digital transformation for them? Where are we now? So we did touch a little bit on this yesterday, but let's have a little bit of a reality check about what's really going on. And then we'll have a really brief look at 5G devices. And then, you know, because I did this yesterday as well, just a quick mention about the GSMA Digital Industries Group. I've got a little bit more information and a link for you. Okay, so I'll skip through this section and we'll go straight through to the shape of the enterprise market. So we've got 5 points here at the moment. You can see across the top, we'll take this into 5 sections. So the first thing I did mention yesterday, and this is that digital transformation of enterprise is accelerating. So prior to COVID, there was already a movement towards digital acceleration, but when COVID happened, this kind of helped push it forward more. So along with the push in digital transformation, we're also seeing a growing adoption of enabling technologies such as cloud, edge, AI and IoT, and that's been seen across most of the verticals. We're also seeing that even though we are recovering from the pandemic, we are still seeing some new external pressures. So we're still seeing disruption in the supply chain, we're seeing raising energy costs, we're seeing new working patterns as well, which is bringing new challenges for enterprises. And also, sustainability is a huge theme, and responding to new policies and improving sustainability is a big challenge for a large number of enterprises. The next step is around progress on 5G, being linked directly to progress in 5G networks. So there are 2 things that we're looking at here. The first thing is that there is absolutely an increase in the knowledge around 5G networks in enterprises and what these modern networks can deliver for the enterprise, and there is some interest there. However, on the opposite side of that, we are seeing that progress in the rollout of 5G SA is slower than we initially anticipated. However, we do see that there is an expectation, that in the next few years, approximately 50% of all of the 5G rollouts will be 5G SA in the majority of regions. And so that really should help with the uptake of 5G SA in solutions in enterprise. So when we're thinking about what it is about 5G that the enterprise needs, well, it's not only about speed, and actually I feel a little bit like I'm preaching to the converted here, because we did talk about this a lot yesterday. So we heard about some of the other features, such as uplink throughput, end-to-end latency, consistent performance and reliability, all being really key elements of 5G, and we just heard them mentioned in the welcome slides this morning. Now, operators are increasingly starting to reshape their offer to better meet the needs of the enterprise. And understanding and aligning their offering to the enterprise needs is a key requirement to a successful product offer. And the GSMA intelligence research is showing that operators are looking to change their value propositions to shift towards edge computing and massive IoT over the next 2 years. So yesterday I mentioned that by 2030 we expect around 55% of all mobile connections to be 5G. And what we said after that was actually that we do need the mobile network operators to roll out 5G networks in order to achieve that expectation. And it's similar in terms of the 5G ecosystem for enterprises. So the progress of adoption of 5G in enterprise very much depends on there being a ready ecosystem available. So of course we need the standards in place, the specifications, the applications need to be there, we need devices available, and at the moment low availability of 5G enabled devices causes a couple of problems. First of all, it reduces the discoverability of 5G solutions for the enterprise market, and also it can affect decision making for enterprises to move towards 5G if they don't feel confident that the devices are going to be there for them. I need to speak a little bit louder. Yeah. Okay, so beyond devices, supporting services such as integrators and maintenance also need to be available and in place. And all of these things need to be there in order for us to develop enterprise-ready solutions. Okay, and then the final point in terms of the overall shape of the enterprise market is the changing in availability of vendors. So historically, mobile network operators was the go-to place for connectivity if you're an enterprise. Since the availability of 5G, that market's opened up, and we can see that there's lots more different types of organisations that are now able to offer solutions and services, private networks. And we could see that potentially as competition, but we could also see that as a real opportunity for partnerships. So from an operator's perspective, what needs to happen is operators need to translate the various benefits of 5G for enterprise into a full end-to-end marketable solution, either directly or through partnerships, to be able to gain a share of the enterprise market. And it is very much about partnerships as well. I think it was Afif from 5G ACIA yesterday that said it's not about taking the competition, it's about growing the pie so that everybody can have a bigger slice of the pie. And I absolutely agree with that. Okay, I'm going to skip on through this slide for time, and because we did cover it yesterday. So in terms of the driving forces for enterprise, and I think we touched on some of these yesterday and some maybe new. So first of all, on the technology side, which I think we've covered to an extent, so I'll go through quickly. So digital transformation requires modern, reliable networks, and enterprises are beginning to recognise that that is the case. Cloud, IoT, AI and security are integral to communications and to these new digital use cases for enterprises. And network innovation is a real opportunity with the availability of 5G. So that's the technology. I think we're all comfortable on that side of things. Then from the consumer demand side, as I mentioned, COVID kind of accelerated the digital transformation in a number of vertical industries. Demand for private networks, as I talked about yesterday, is growing rapidly, and manufacturing, utilities and ports are really leading the way in this area, even though by no means is it limited to those areas. And sustained cost pressures and sustainability commitments have made efficiencies a really core priority for a number of enterprises. I've also touched on competition in the box at the bottom here. So most ecosystem players are targeting the enterprise market. So this does lead to competition, but as I said on the last slide, it also leads to the opportunity for collaboration. There are more organisations wanting to move into this space. So to develop end-to-end solutions, partnerships between operators, network vendors, cloud companies are on the rise, plus, software development, applications, devices, all of that. All of the ecosystem, as I've mentioned already. And then, of course, we know that the hyperscalers are also stepping into this space as well, which will inevitably cause disruption. And then finally, in terms of the context, again, for the enterprise, there are two other areas to cover. The first is around privately allocated spectrum for enterprises. This has made its debut in countries including South Korea, US, Germany, Japan, and making an impact. And secondly, the global economy is impacting decision making. So lower growth and increasing inflation is having an impact, and that's leading enterprises to act in one of two ways. Either they're seeing digital transformation as a mitigation towards these economic challenges, or they're seeing it as a risk and pausing activities and hoping to weather the storm and contemplating digital transformation post recovery or whatever's going to happen, stabilisation. Okay, so where we've kind of got to there is kind of a bit of an overview of what the factors are that are impacting the enterprise at the moment and helping them to consider whether to move towards digital transformation. So we know that it's a good thing, so assuming that the enterprise has made that decision to go into that, down that route, there's a few areas that we need to consider when we're thinking about the deployment in enterprise. So the first, and again, I think I'm echoing what was just said in the previous slides, but enterprise connectivity is a really diverse environment. Right now, the majority of connections are fixed, and those fixed connections have got some strong credentials for why fixed is popular. It's then complemented by wireless technologies such as Wi-Fi, and then short-range technologies such as RFID and Bluetooth, for example. However, as the enterprise organisations' requirements evolve, so do their networking needs. And increasingly, enterprises are seeing requirements for increased mobility, location-specific coverage, and security, and the networks need to move to meet those. So, for an example, in a GSMA intelligence report, 22% of respondents told us that location-specific coverage is a key requirement, for example. So meeting needs, identifying the needs, which is going to be different by enterprise, and meeting them is obviously a priority. The next thing is around 5G, pushing enterprise networks to the next level. So as well as being able to deliver to the use cases that already exist, but maybe moving from a wired to a wireless environment, there's also a possibility to deliver the new use cases, and we did speak quite a lot, and we heard some great examples yesterday about some of those use cases. On the slide here, for example, we talk about embedded video and object recognition for quality inspections. Yesterday we saw some great VR stuff. There was lots of examples, and I'm sure there's going to be lots more today, and I'm really looking forward to some of the sessions coming up. And then the last, when we're looking at rolling out the networks, is around understanding that adoption and transition is going to take some time. And I think, again, this echoes certainly one or two presentations from yesterday. So even at the stage when the enterprises decided to move into this direction, the reality of moving from a legacy environment into a fully transitioned digital environment is going to take sometimes potentially a number of years. One of the things I'd like to share with you is the link to our brownfield paper that was produced in April this year from the GSMA Digital Industries. It's kind of slightly tangential, but it is an overview of a proposed framework for any enterprise organisation that's currently moving into a digital transformation. So it's free to download. Please take a look if you think that might be interesting for you. Okay, I'm going to very briefly go through this slide, which is just a quick summary of some of those key features that enterprises will find valuable with either new or better with 5G. So we know that it's providing network coverage in remote areas, in indoor locations, in microsites. It offers that security and reliability of connections. It's becoming a significantly more important factor with the move from wired to wireless. Location of networks, flexibility in who controls the network. So this is the private network element and having control over and being able to customise your network. And then the ability to connect your mobile assets, such as your autonomous vehicles and the forklift, and then the devices as well, such as those sensors, the machines, the tablets, the wearables, and everything that's going to help move towards that digital transformation. And just for a bit of background information, taken from one of the GSMA intelligence reports, is some of the enterprise network requirements for IoT in terms of coverage as well there. But I won't hang about on that one. Because I wanted to really get to this slide about kind of where are we. We're kind of given a bit of a broad overview of the shape of the market, broadly where we're trying to head, what enterprises need, what we're doing in terms of progress. So we are absolutely making some good progress in a number of areas. So first of all, awareness. So enterprises are aware now of the opportunities from modern wireless networks. Secondly is the opportunity, and that is our mobile network operators are identifying that there's an opportunity to gain incremental revenues from the enterprise market. So there's a focus on that, which is positive. Next is around solutions. So solutions are starting to be built and delivered by cloud companies, end-to-end private delivering end-to-end private solutions. The ecosystem is coming together. And then finally, spectrum, which I mentioned on the other slide, which is that countries with significant industrial and manufacturing activity have set aside spectrum for private use. And I mentioned Japan, Germany, US and South Korea. So that's all good progress in terms of movement for 5G. However, in other areas we are making slower progress with an opportunity to improve. So the first one actually is accountability, and I've heard this a few times when I've been working with some of the manufacturing industry. So if a traditionally non-digital organisation wants to move towards digital transformation, who in the business is responsible for overseeing that deployment? So is it the IT team who have historically looked after the computer networks? Is it the OT team? Is it the strategy department? So still some understanding to be done there on how to approach it. The next, which we did touch on yesterday, is the rollout of 5G SA. So I think that standalone is not as evolved in its rollout as we were expecting by this point, but we are making slow and steady progress. So there is hopefully light at the end of the tunnel there. The next is around device availability, and obviously it's great to hear that GTI are starting some work around low-cost devices that they talked about yesterday. But as I've mentioned, a lack of or a limited number of 5G-enabled devices is problematic from the perspective of discovery of services, but also decision-making within an enterprise. And then finally, slicing is not as advanced in its availability as expected, and the numbers I have is that only 12% of operators surveyed by GSMA Intelligence, have deployed commercial network slicing, and 19% are not planning to deploy at all. So areas to overcome. Okay, I have just less than 1 minute, and that's absolutely great. We're on track because this, even though it looks busy, is just really a quick summary of the lag between a release specification coming out and the availability of devices. So in summary, it talks about approximately a year to move from specification release through to the networks being ready and devices being produced, and then a further 1 to 2 years for the innovative applications to be built on top of that. And then to the far side over there, I've just got some of the information about the releases. So I'll move on to the next slide. So in summary, we're now on the last slide. I think the summary is that there's a real drive and a demand for 5G in the enterprise, which is really positive, but there's still some work to be done, and there's still partnerships to be made to design and deliver propositions, end-to-end propositions that meet the needs of the verticals. I'm exactly out of time, so if I can just move to my last slide here. Oh, that was a document that I mentioned yesterday about private networks, and there's the URL, the QR code to that, if anybody would like it. And my very last slide is just a QR code to the GSMA Digital Industries website, where you can find out a little bit more about the work that we do. And if you're interested in getting involved, then please do drop us a note, fill in the online form, and we'd be delighted to hear from you. So thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Many thanks, Joe. So, very beautiful slides and clear explanation. So, any quick question for Joe? Yeah. So, I have a quick question about the 5G progress. I mean, to be for the enterprise scenario. So, I'm not sure if you could evaluate the progress in China and out of China. I'm not sure if you have any idea about the difference between the two markets.
Thank you. I don't have any direct data on that. I think probably my colleague from the GSMA intelligence team may have a view on that. What I do know is we have a report that comes out each year on the state of the China market, which would give an overview of where we are. Unfortunately, I don't have that to hand though, but it's something that I could probably share with everybody, share with you to be able to share with everybody that's attending today. I think in terms of gut experience, I think we know that certainly a lot of the early deliverables, early adoption was certainly coming outside of China, and I think coverage is mostly from China, and certainly in terms of the volume of deployments is significantly higher in China than the rest of the world. But I think that's great because we can see, some examples and see that as a beacon. Other countries can follow with their 5G deployments, particularly in the industrial sector.